Hello, my name is Dan Newman from Innovative Fence Products. We're going to demonstrate our floor model routing system. This is the template-based router, and it's got a 7-inch capacity on the height, and it's got a 5-inch capacity on the width. We're going to show you some of the features of this floor model unit here. This unit is not built pneumatic. This is a unit with built with gas springs. That's how it achieves its pressure for clamping, and we'll show you how that works. This operates off a floor pedal, and what happens is as you push it down, the plate comes down, it locks into here. When you're done routing your post or whatever you're routing, you just give that a little kick, the unit comes up, and you're ready to load a new piece of material. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to set up for just as far as setting the width and the heights. We're going to clamp a post, and so we're going to loosen this here. This is the clamping handle. When you do that, you can spread these bars here. These bars are spreadable to, basically you can clamp almost a 1-inch piece of material. So we're going to clamp a 5-inch post. Drop the post in. There's a stop here. It comes in, hits the stop. Let me show you how that works here. If you are going to do a longer piece of material, or if you want to do something longer, this comes out about 5 feet or so. You can come out and you can grab a longer piece of material there. So at any rate, we're going to do a standard post. So we're going to bring this back in. Hits the stop. And what we're going to do is we're going to set the bars here. So in the height. So what we're going to do is we're going to loosen this here. That's our lock. This is the tray that raises here. And we're going to lock it back down. That's how to adjust your height. And as you can see here, we've got a gear mechanism here. So this is a rack and pinion height adjustment on both sides here. So it's easy to adjust, it's very reliable. So we're going to lock it down. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring these bars till you have about a 1/4 inch or 3/16 gap. Then you lock this down. Once you lock that down, now these will no longer move, now it's locked in. So when you press the pedal down, what happens is these bars come in and clamp the material. So you can see here this is tight. It's not going to move from a pressure from the routing system. When we want to release it, once again, you just kick that. The unit comes up. If you're a very light person, I weigh about 200 pounds. If you're a very light person, you weigh 100 pounds or so, that might be a little challenging, but you could easily just help it along with your hand. You typically shouldn't have to do that unless you're a real small person, but either way you're going to be able to use this machine. This unit is built with a floor pedal here, and we're going to show you the mechanism here. This is let me get rid of this post. This unit is built with a linkage system, and so we have a floor pedal here. Here's the pivot. It pivots there on both sides, and you have an adjustable linkage system. If you ever have to make minor adjustments, it's got some slots here. You can loosen that, make some small adjustments. Linkage comes up here, and this pushes your tray up. So we're going to actuate it again, and that comes down. Release it, it comes back up. So if you take a look back here, we see where we get our main pressure. These are large gas springs. These have a few hundred pounds of pressure each. And we have an adjustable block here. If the gas spring ever loses a little bit of pressure, you can move it to a different position here. You shouldn't need to do that, but if you ever had to do some maintenance or make some minor adjustments, you could easily do that. Obviously, we have one on the other side. This is a linkage that comes up from the foot pedal. All the work basically comes up from here. It actuates this rocker here. These two gas springs, what these are your clamping springs. So that you don't have to adjust the pressure, the spacing perfectly. This, it basically, once it clamps, I'm just going to go ahead and keep your video on that. So what we see happening is, as this comes up here, this is your clamping system here, and this is what we adjusted the handle in the front. Swing around the front here. So this is hooked to here. Come down here and look up. And this is where you adjust the pressure. So this hub slides in there, and once you have it at the right position, you lock it down, and that's never gonna slip. So that's basically how the different widths are achieved. If you look down on the tray once again, you see that you loosen that, and you can adjust even down to, like if you wanted to route a 1.5 by 1.5 because you're doing some special work, you could do that with this machine. And as we raise the tray once again, you could see how that's achieved here. This would basically be the minimum piece you could route here. Look at it from the end. We've got 1-inch channel here. This is just to protect your material so it doesn't get scratched. This is vinyl, for just vinyl U-channel 1-inch. So if you ever need to replace it, it's easy to replace. We don't glue it on. You can do that, but they actually come off and you can replace them if you ever had to. So we're going to bring it back out. We're going to loosen this. It's already loose. Bring that back out. We're going to bring it down. And what we're going to do is we're going to set up for a 2x6. And we're going to make a 2x6 picket rail. We've got that type of plate on the top here. This particular plate, typically we would make the pockets just in the middle, but to save money on this particular plate here, so that the customer would only have to purchase one plate, we've got one in the front, one in the back. This is the top of the picket rail, and this is the bottom. So it routes a little bit wider hole so that you can rack your rails a little bit as you're installing if you're going up a slight hill. So we're going to put a rail inside the machine here. We're going to adjust our width. So we're going to push the pedal down. It's clamped. It's in a good position here. Here's our router tray here. So we're going to go ahead and route this picket rail here. Release the material. And we got an air hose over here. you're typically gonna want to blow it off so that you don't have chips in between the this and this, between the part and the clamping bars here, affecting your spacing. So anyways, that's our picket rail there. So this is routed. This is routed for a customer here who wanted a 3.5-inch spacing, which is what that is, 3.5-inch spacing. These are 1.5 pickets. We're going to show you a little bit more accurately the picket sizes here. We made it just slightly oversized so that the pickets go in here. We got about 1 inch 5/15. These are 1.5 pickets. Again, we have about, I'm holding this caliper wrong here. We got a just under 5 inch, so it's 1.5. That's basically 1.5. And if we set this back down to whatever, probably get a better measurement here. 1.5, 1.5. It's within about 10 thousandths, which is good enough, and obviously the picket's going to slide right in there. We're using a 1/4 inch bit, so this gives you an 1/8 inch radius on basically anything that you do here. This unit here is not meant to replace a $40,000, $60,000 CNC, but this unit here is in about the $4,000 range, so it becomes affordable for startup companies or companies that just don't have the volume to justify, or the funds to justify the purchase of a larger CNC machine like that. But as you can see here, it gives you a nice picket rail. It's going to be very consistent, easy to set up, easy to clamp. You're probably going to want to use a plunge router so that you don't have to be careful like I was with your bit, hitting your picket, your template and putting a gouge in it. You're not going to want to do that. If you did, you could have it welded or repaired, or we can remake those. They're not too expensive on the long ones. But, so that's your picket rail there. So you would put that on the bottom, route a smaller one for the top. But at any given rate, it's self-centering. So no matter what width you do, whether you're using this is a 2-inch wide here, if you're using a 1.5-inch wide with smaller pickets, it's always going to position your material to the center of the machine. If by chance you wanted to make an adjustment, let's say the unit was slightly off for some reason, which really would be a maintenance item, we've got an adjustability feature here. What you would do is you would take an Allen wrench here, you would loosen this, loosen that, do the same thing on the other side. That's a slotted holder, so this whole block that holds the template tray, this is the pivot block, can move in and out about a 3/16 of an inch either way. You would never need to adjust it that much, but if you ever had to, if for some reason your route was off center a little bit, you could very easily make an adjustment. But you'd only have to do that on rare occasions if by chance the unit went out of calibration. So we've kind of built it with maintenance in mind there. So what we're going to do in a couple minutes here is we're going to set this up to a router post. But I think we've pretty much covered some of the main features. It's a steel frame. It's a welded steel frame. It's got bronze bushings in between the linkages. So there's bronze bushings everywhere. And what you're going to want to do occasionally here, there's if you want to come back here, there's a grease fitting. If you grease this, that goes around the main template tray rods here. So that'll keep it lubricated so that the thing will swing nicely. Occasionally you might want to take a can of WD-40 and spray them on those, on the bronze bushing linkages there, so that the unit actuates easily. As you can see now, it does. Comes up nice and slow. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch this over to a post. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take off these screws. And actually I want to mention first, these screws are right down the center of the part that you're routing. So what happens is, with these screws, for instance, we did the smaller section of the picket rail earlier. If you wanted the bottom of the picket rail, you would slide that over, put the screws back in. 3 screws would be enough, and then now you're ready to route the back side of the picket rails. Right now we're finished with this. We're going to take this off. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna set up for a post with a lattice top fence. So we've got our plates here. They're using 1.5 inches, 5.5 for their upper and lower rail, and a 2 by 3.5 for the top rail. So we're gonna set these on. These, by the way, are the same plates that our portable units use. So these are still $20. So whether you purchase the larger machine or the smaller machine, you're assured that you're going to get very economical templates. So we're going to put our screws in. Start them out by hand so you don't strip these out. Just lock these a little bit so they don't swing up. We're going to adjust the width by loosening the handle, swinging that out. We're going to put a post in. Slide it till we hit the stop. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up our post here. We put a mark 2 inches from the top of the post. We're going to adjust the width of our bars here, lock it down, slide it down till we hit our stop, which we've done. You can use any length of post. It can hang out this way, it can hang out this way, you can adjust the stop. For instance, if you wanted to do a 16-foot long post, you could do that by pulling the stop out and hitting the new position on the stop. So we're going to clamp this. Now it's ready to set up for our heights of our rails. We're going to loosen these knobs. We're going to slide it up until our pencil mark is just about 1/10 of an inch away from the edge of our template there. Our mark on the post. Look at it from this way, right from this way here. You see our pencil mark's just going to be about 1/10 of an inch away. What that represents is approximately the guide bushing offset. It's a 1/4 inch bit and a 7/16 guide bushing. We're going to have about a 10-inch window on the top. That's how much our lattice shows. And so what we're going to do to start with, we're going to put a mark 2 inches from the top of the post and 72 inches from the top of the post down. So this will make a 70-inch tall fence. Of course, you could set it for whatever you want. But let's go ahead and set that up. And what we're going to do is we're going to line up the top template. And we're going to be about 3/32 away from this edge. If you look straight down this way, you can see that. And what that represents, if you look at our router here, that represents our guide bushing offset. So the distance from the outside of the collar to the inside of the bit is about 3/32. So that's how much different your shape's going to be from the line that you actually, or from your measurements for your templates. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a 10-inch window. We're going to loosen these 4 knobs here. And we're going to make this distance here 3/32 per side. So that's going to be about 10 and 3/16. That'll make, that'd be minus 3/16 off of 10. So we're going to lock these down. And then if we look down here, we're going to slide our bottom template to the mark that we put there, again being about 3/32 away from that edge. So So now this is set up to route a privacy post with a lattice top. It's all set. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our router. Go ahead and route this. This side's routed. We're going to just take a piece of scrap here. It's a nice fit. Fits perfect all the way around. We're going to turn this into a corner post. So we're going to rotate it 90 degrees. Bring it up, hit our stop. It's ready to route the corner. So now we've got a corner post with a 10-inch spacing. So you can see there, based on our measurements there, it's pretty much right on 10-inch. About a 1/2 off, but that's pretty close. And so this one here, you can see that it makes a pretty nice fit all the way around.